I think this starts climbing towards 2.
Yeah, I feel like this is another great example with your style of trading why you don't always
There we
have to.
go.
You
There
don't
we
know.
go.
Oh, nice.
Boom. There's 98. Boom. There's 90. You see that?
Yep.
Boom. And I'm going to hold. Fuck this.
I'm going to have to use that quote too.
Got my stops in. Lots of profit taking. I see that, but I don't really give a shit. I'm in at 181. I'm going to set my stop at 178 and allow this to fucking just form. As you remember, there's always profit takers. There's always scalpers in the fucking room that are going to slap it and then sell the pop. Because they're, again, I'm not going to go down that road, but they are subpar traders. I got my stop in. I'm good. I'm going to hold on to this. Look at that soak. Nice fucking soak. We should start climbing right back up. Got my stop in. I'm good. And UPTD, I still got my stop in. I'm still holding. This thing's at 1290 now.
Nice.
Right back to 185. Five-minute candle hasn't closed yet. So what it's telling me is that there's a lot of selling, a lot of fucking scalpers. So everybody's like fucking getting out. So once those guys get out, the buyers will come back in, guys. Look at that. Look how quick that candle just, right? So you got scalpers all up in this bitch, fucking just in and out, scalping for 3,000 shares. And now UPTD, what did I say my price target was? What did I say my price? 1360, 1358 area. Slowly being walked up. Slowly being walked up. Yeah, I see ABCD now. Some nice big volume there.
See, this is what pisses me off.
What's that?
Should make you feel good, Rob.
Yeah. Oh, and look at CGC too, motherfucker.
Yeah, again, dude. Again, why do you think I fucking, like, I get on voice and I try to, like, we've done this before, remember, on yesterday, AVTX. I nailed the bottom, and I held and held and held and fucking held and held and held and held and held and held, and I was able to land a big fucking winner on that one. Come on, UPTD. Keep fucking grinding up. This thing's just, so this algo is literally just walking these shorts up. And that's what you guys don't understand too. There's a difference when people limit sell, they're selling their shares for a cheaper price. And it causes the algo to recognize they're dropping that bid. But when there isn't any selling, like in case of UPTD, where the spread is low, right? But people are still fucking buying and they're pushing that price up. And so it's forcing shorts to get out. It's forcing shorts to literally get out. And they have to like either buy or sell their shares at a higher price or however, but you get what I'm saying? Like, when you're in a squeeze like that, it's just leave it alone. It's fucking gonna go in your favor.
I really liked what you said. I think it was yesterday about, this is the only industry where people will actually overpay for something, and it really made me think about all the times where I was like, okay, I want to try and buy this dip here, and then I'm like thinking something's happening, so I buy it at a little, few cents higher or whatever, and then I just watch it come right back to that price. It fills me, and then comes back to that price that I originally wanted to buy it at. So
Yeah.
that analogy just makes you realize, like, you got to put your order out at the price you want, and just wait and let it get filled there.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that I've been really like pondering, like that's like first thing in like the first 15, 20, 30 minutes. I mean, my levels that I see are correct, are good levels. And it seems like that they're always, the trade always hits that level, and instead of having not my stop there, but my order open there, so it can catch it in the first 15, 20 minutes and then goes back up. That's, and that is so scary for me to do that though, like, because I'm afraid it's just gonna keep fucking going.
Again, fear comes from the lack of knowledge.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. French, I was talking over you. What?
No, go ahead, finish.
I see it like over and over and over again, that it hits my level and rebounds right off, like it maybe go down a couple cents past it, and then off it goes.
Yep.
But
again, when you have lack of confidence, you're gonna always be afraid.
right.
If you're trading with fear, put a stop loss. It's that simple.
Oh, I do every time. Mr. French.
Yeah, don't allow a trade to go negative on you. Either take a small loss, right? I was willing to get in at 1188 on UPTD and let it prove itself. And I mean, it's that's, what is that? How much is that? This thing ran to 1390 or 13. Not a big mover, but I only had 1,000 shares, right? $13 minus 11,888. That's $1.12 move on 1,000 shares. You just saw me make almost $1,000 right now. That's lit, and I got stopped out on BRSH, by the way. That's what I'm saying, is keep it extra simple. Oh, motherfucker, you guys seen what NDSE is doing now? Son of a NBSE. Look what time it's reversing. I am not touching that. I am not messing with that. That one has frustrated me. But I like to get on. I like to get on voice with you guys. I'll tell you the reason why I get off. There's no point in me like staring at my own trades, and I get very distracted, and I need to be able to read levels, right? I'm watching the price action. I want to see things happening. And when I get on voice, I sometimes take losses because I cannot focus. However, I love getting on voice when I'm in a trade and I'm literally gonna like walk you through what's gonna happen. And you guys have seen it many times where it happens, right? Of course.
MBS.
But
see, they do that all the time. They pop it up and then they stuff it.
yeah, it's this market, man. It's this tough ass market.
Hey,
I'm
Mr.
not
French.
touching NBSE. Yeah.
So when you refer, I'm sorry, Dan, go ahead.
No, that's all right. Go on.
Well, I was gonna say, when you say a tough market, that means there's a lack of liquidity in the market then, is that what you're saying? I mean, it's a tough market?
Multitude of everything, guys. There's a lack of liquidity, a lack of follow through. There's lots and lots and lots of traps. There's
Right.
traps every fucking where. And that's the problem, is when you're trading with a lack of confidence in already a very tough market, you're gonna lose your fucking shit. You're gonna just be like, damn, dude, everything I touch just turns to shit.
Right.
And so lack of knowledge is where that comes from. But then you get a guy who's very, structured, has a lot of education, can read the levels, and he's willing to take risk. He's willing to trade calculated, hypothesized trades. And that's what I do. So it removes because, okay, it's setting up and it's doing it. However, they still get me. I was up green 2,500, and I've been taking a couple chops here and there, little trades here and there. I haven't been getting online and coaching or walking you guys through them, but I'm down 1,700 green now. From 2,500, I'm only green 1,700, right? So it's a tough market, man. There's tons of chop everywhere, tons of fucking traps, tons of just, it's it's just tough everywhere, brother. And so I just simplify it by looking at key levels. Man, look how close I am to the bottom on UPTD, right? Look how close I am to the bottom of that. Got in at 1188. Look where 1188 is, right? So when you look at things like that, remember, I get in and I get out of trades. I get stopped out all the time. I just got stopped out. You guys saw it right now on BRSH. We had way too much selling at 198, and then the stock just dropped. And so they won. They won. Sellers won. Doesn't mean the stock is dead. Just means that that particular time, lots of profit taking, lots of scalpers, considering the time, it was already tough as shit. And I mean, I've taken a loss on NBSE, and all of a sudden this thing is like reversing, and I'm like, oh fuck. Like, it happens. Yeah, it happens. No big deal. I'll let you guys have the floor. I'm just gonna hang out and see what else we can hopefully nail for Power Hour.
I got a question about tape reading that, hopefully isn't super basic, but because I was trying to look some stuff up on Google earlier. So, what I was saying online was green prints are prints on the ask, and the red prints are green prints are yeah.
I think I know what you're gonna ask me, so go ahead.
Yeah. So how do you determine?
Two sides to every coin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, for the longest time I was just thinking green prints are buys, red prints are sells. But now I've been watching this guy, Short Bear. He has tape in level 2 webinar, and he was showing he was showing a few different screenshots of tape, and he's saying, okay, this is a strong tape, this is a weak tape, this is a hidden weak tape, a hidden strong tape. And by the time he explained it all, I kind of realized, oh, okay, well, sometimes, at least what I thought was, just because it's showing green, it's not necessarily buys. Is that correct?
Mm,
And is that also why it's important
So
to
I'll-
match the level 2 to what you're seeing?
again, not just paying attention to the tape and whatnot. Pay attention to key levels. So we're gonna touch that, but you got to pay attention to key levels. Key level is an area that the algo has an abundance of supply, right? So you will typically see it selling into the bid, which will come out on the tape as red.
Okay.
And then
Repeat that again. I'm sorry. That was important.
yeah, key levels are we call them demands, supplies, supports, resistances. The reason why I watch every single stock at a key level and I don't buy in the middle, I buy, you guys saw me buy breakout. Again, just very simplified here. I buy the dips because those are areas where the algo will either have a demand to start accumulating, and when it moves, to make a move going bullish, and then once it goes bullish, it will hit a resistance area to go bearish. Your job is a surfer. You are supposed to catch the wave. So,
And the technique to that is understanding the key levels.
right. So key levels are the main factor, right? And then you include volume, and then you include time of day, and then you include level 2s and tape. So
And then
that's when you can make a sound decision. But what I'm saying is the buys are people buying the ask. The sells are people selling the bid. they show up as red, right? So sometimes you'll see a lot of green on the tape, but there won't be movement. I'm telling you, it's because there's hidden sellers. And so they'll just allow people to buy. And it's kind of like a key level. You can look, and if you look to the left, it'll be like sort of a resistance area. And that's what I mean. Like, you can spot them in there. And he is right where it's strong, soft. Right now, the market's just shit. It's very hard to even explain and do any type of research or homework because the market's just shit in general. Right? So it's very challenging to like get his chart and be like, look, you see this happening? Because it's just very bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's up, Roland? He always
There he
does
is.
So reading the tape and reading level twos, that just gives you sort of an inside idea of what's happening on behind the scene on candles. That's it. And so when they're showing being sold into the bid, it's still a sell. It's still a sell.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one thing. Have you ever sold or have you ever bought and it shows up red? There's a seller right there. There's a hidden seller, and you can see it.
And that's
Like,
kind
if
of
you
what my
buy-
question was. Is that the case? Because I've looked back on my tape after I bought something and I matched the time and the price and all that, and I'm like, oh, it's showing up as a red print. And I just,
Because there was a hidden seller. Exactly. There's a hidden seller. So basically, like, it could be someone, a retailer could be a retailer. It could be a short. It could be a market maker. And if you're buying and it shows up red on the tape, it means that there's a seller right there. If it shows up green, that means that there isn't, and you can, you can make sound judgment of it at that time.
and I pretty
So
much
it
always
doesn't-
buy on the bid, so that's probably why it's showing up as a red print, huh?
You're buying on the bid?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. It's a combination, man. It's it's more in depth than that. And so
Okay.
I think I'm just getting tired at this point. I've been on voice for fucking an hour now, and I think I'm just getting kind of winded. And my mind's starting to get mushy now.
No worries. In other words, it's just not that cut and dry, right?
Yeah, dude. I watched the short bear video. I think that someone posted in the other room, and I think it was a young guy
Yeah.
walking through tape reading and whatnot.
Yep.
I was just kind of like seeing what the video entailed. It's like a 2-hour long video, so I was watching it, seeing, and I mean, it doesn't show a lot. He talks about it, but it's very you can't see like the actual information where it needs to be zoomed.
That's exactly what I thought as well.
Yeah, it's different when like if you saw the actual information and you could see what he's talking about, hidden seller, hidden buyer, or soaking accumulation. If you saw it, you can spot it, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool. Now I'm seeing it. You can sort of use the visual representation to apply it and hopefully utilize that in the market. But it's so zoomed out that for me, I didn't really get a lot from it because I couldn't see the information what he's talking about, but I knew exactly what he was talking about, what he's talking about. I was like, oh, okay, so I understood it.
So maybe just stick to the Anna Cooling stuff, huh?
No, man, fuck no, dude. Learn
Mm-hmm.
as much as you fucking possibly can, dude. Don't eliminate anything, dude.
Okay.
Don't eliminate shit. This is an industry where you want to have an edge. Even if it gives you, we've talked about this the other day, even if it gives you 1% edge. I don't use MACDs. I don't use a lot of information out there. But in the beginning, I used all of it
Mm-hmm.
because I sucked. And so I never down talked other people's stuff when I would, when people would say, oh, I use this. I would never say, fuck that. That shit sucks. No, I used it. And then I would say, well, that didn't really work for me. I didn't like it, or it just didn't have a lot of edge for me, my particular trading style. So I removed it. And that's you have to find your own edge. You have to find your own sort of
Set of
whatever,
tools.
right, because there's a lot of tools that you can have at advantage right now, man. There really is. I don't use anything except EMAs and volume. That's it. I don't have what's that thing on the side? It's called the time or
The volume profile.
The volume profile. I don't use that, but I understand exactly where key levels are and where high volume would be, liquidity, would be. And the other day who was it with me that I said, hey, post it, and you can clearly see this is a key level of resistance that we're going to have to be concerned with.
Yep.
And it rejected that two rejections off of that, and then it completely failed. Remember, who was that?
That was me. It was right at that TOS's like volume profile. It's called the point of control. It was like a little gap in it.
Exactly. And that's what I said. I said, this is going to be a concern without even having that. And so once you get used to that, sort of understanding what these tools are for you, then you can, and that's all level 2 and time and sales is. It's an extra tool for you. It doesn't mean it's going to completely transform your game, but it is just another tool to have more of an edge added to your style. Does that make sense? So
yes.
When you read and you don't understand something, like you said, when it comes out red, when it comes out green, that's still liquidity. Remember I told you, when you buy, you're adding liquidity to the market. When you sell, you're adding liquidity to the market. You're still liquidity, whether you buy or sell.
Right.
The algos are going to make money every time you enter the market. When you buy and when you sell, they will make money. So when you read about the greens and the reds, and here's another thing that you probably didn't speak of. I have DOS, which is a higher level of trading, but that shows a lot more print.
Right.
It shows up as white.
Yep.
On mine, it shows up as white. On the other ones, it shows up as just red or green. And so another thing you should maybe do a little bit more research into is dark pool buys. Because dark pool buys kind of mess with you because they show up white and they really don't, they kind of like, you got to make sound judgment. Is this chart looking bullish? Is it holding a key level? Should I enter right here? And I think once you get to a more advanced stage, you're going to have to distinguish between not just red or green, but also white. So keep learning on that. I don't have a definitive answer for you on that, but keep learning, my man.
Yeah. Well, TOS doesn't show those white prints, but I did look those up, what those white prints are on DAS, and yeah, I was saying it's orders in between the bid and the ask usually, or
right. It's the dark pool, right?
Yeah.
White's just within the spread. It's white's within the spread.
Right. Within the
At least
spread.
on most platforms, because there's bid, there's ask, and then there's basically the in between.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so
then and then at least for me, I would, and then like for Schwab, I get a lot of wacky prints throughout the day, like on
like 11111, right?
Yeah, no, I'll just get some really, especially pre-market, and it's weird. It's just a kind of half hour on the half hour and on the hour when different brokers are opening up. I'll get some funky prints sometimes that will act also as like the low when they drop down there. Some weird shit that I've been kind of like trying to go back on specifically on Schwab, these prints where I get them. They won't print up on like DAS. They don't print up on TradingView. I get who else has Schwab? Who else has Street Smart and can tell me the same? Now they may just be late prints or something like that, and maybe something weird like that. But it happens to me, and I'll see it, dude. I'll see it. It's specifically, even if you go to like CGC at 8 a.m., I'll show you what my chart looks like. And I'm watching the pre-market tape when this is happening.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the time and sales, and these prints are hitting my charts, and they will also hit the time and sales, but they're way outside the bid and ask. Way outside.
Oh, isn't that when the tape's like catching up? Because I've had that happen on E-Trade also, where all of a sudden at 8 a.m. or if
I'm
it was
sure
like
it has to do with these individual brokers, because I know Robinhood opens at a certain time, like all these different brokerages end up at certain times, but these are the prints. You see those prints on the left, pre-market at 8 a.m., like on the dot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get those every day on any ticker pretty much that has some volume.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's weird, dude. Yeah.
Dude, I get those every day, and they hit my tape. I'll capture it like tomorrow morning, pre-market or whatever, what that looks like at each, and it happens kind of 8. Yeah, that's about the right time.
I have Roland. I have Schwab, and I don't see those. I'm looking at that same thing, and all I see is the first that first big wick down, and the one next to it. I don't see that big red and green print going up next to
You
it.
don't see those ones?
No, not at all. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of
How
times,
weird.
I spotted there are some really advanced traders that can write code, and that they can. What they'll do is they'll write in where you see a print of like 1, 3, or 5, and it's like 10 cents below